Nice. Hello and welcome back to Dukes on Switch. Back today with 4-color Maverick. This is still a list that I'm working on making little tweaks to. This list is a little bit different in the sideboard to the list that was being played on the stream on Thursday. So I did want some fast interaction for combos, so I've added in 2 Chalice of the Void alongside Deafening Silence as turn 1 plays. I was going to play something like Mindbreak Trap, but I didn't want to have such a narrow card on my board, whereas Chalice comes in a few different decks, even against something like Elves for 1. Of course they do have Allosaurus Shepherd, but I do feel like Chalice has a little bit more flexibility than Mindbreak Trap does right now. So Chalice is pretty sweet. And then Containment Priest is an interesting one. A little bit like Gaddock Teeg, Containment Priest does turn off Green Sun Zenith, but I feel like the matchups where you have it, you're putting a lot more pressure on your opponent than you are yourself. So Containment Priest really nice against decks like Espavile, Reanimator of course, not seeing too much Death and Taxes. Elves, it's pretty good against. It's also not the worst against Goblins, which is pretty cool. And also just being a 2/2 flash can really help against some decks. Even something like Sharksteel, I probably wouldn't put it behind me to think about bringing in something like Containment Priest, because it is obviously pretty great at what it does. The other card that I wanted to try out was Zealous Persecution. So Zealous I'm playing over a 3rd Plague because I do feel there are some decks where you do just want the Zealous effect. Things like Espavile, they have a few X1s that aren't all the same creature type. Elves especially can be a little bit rough when they have things like Wirewood Symbiote out, or a bunch of 1/1 Elves. So there are times where you do want the flexibility of just giving all creatures neg1 rather than targeting a specific tribe. So this should be pretty interesting. I do like as well that it helps with combat damage. It can be a bit of a trick, whereas Plague Engineer is something that's on the field, people can play around, they know that it's there. Zealous is a little bit harder to kind of play around, and especially now where I think a lot of people would put Plague Engineer above Zealous in terms of power level, that Zealous Persecution probably isn't a card that many people are actually that ready for. So that's kind of cool as well. So we'll see how this goes. The rest of the deck is pretty much the same. It's a really fun deck to play. I really like having Oko and Kaya, especially in a deck where you can accelerate them out on turn 2 thanks to Noble Hierarch Birds and Dryad Arbor. Snow is still an issue, and I think the big issue with Snow is that it just grinds so much better than Maverick does, and one of Maverick's biggest strengths is its consistency and its ability to grind. So having a deck that could just naturally grind better is pretty rough. And what I mean by grind better is that it just makes so much better use of its cards. So things like Icewind Coatl, I'm going to have to deal with it with most likely a Swords to Plowshares and Abrupt Decay, but they get to replace it straight away with a card. So I'm going to be down a card, they're going to be up a card, they're going to play an Oko, they're going to get some value out of it. I'm going to probably destroy it with an Abrupt Decay, they're going to get value out of it, I'm going to be a card down. And you get to this point where you're kind of on, 2 or 3 cards and your opponent's on 7 cards, and you're like, how did this happen? It's literally because a lot of their cards are replacing themselves, they're getting maximum value out of them, and they're putting you in positions where you're kind of using cards like Swords to Plowshares and Icewind Coatl, where you don't really want to, but you're in a position where you have to be the beatdown, you can't let them get to the mid to late game because that's where they start really churning the engine. And so, using a Swords and an Ice Fang and then your opponent untapping and playing an Uro and you're not having the swords is pretty rough, but that's what the deck does to you, and that's where you have to kind of, make a few choices about how you're attacking, how aggressively you're swordsing opposing creatures, knowing what you can beat and what you can't beat, and just making sure that you're also not, trying to buy time that you don't have. I think that's a pretty big tip. But yeah, this was pretty sweet. We'll see how it goes. Leovold's been pretty sweet as well. I'm a huge fan of this card. Probably one of my favorite cards that's come out recently, outside of something like Elvish Reclaimer. So to have the ability to play it in this deck is phenomenal. It also gives us that advantage of, playing a threat that at least gets replaced by 1 card, outside of something like Council's Judgment where it doesn't target. Leovold is always going to replace itself in most cases. Nice. Let's get rid of this. Hope you guys are well. Legacy League, nice. 4-color Mav, nice. Play points, easy. Nice. Alright. Damned. Tom Hepp at the top of the trophy ladder with 23 trophies with, I assume most of them, if not all of them, with depths, which is very cool. And then Jeff, Pokemonkey, up there with 17. Bryant, nice, 14 with Tess. Neville, not too sure. I know Floytrue is a massive Eldrazi fan. JPA has been on Delver, but usually is known for his sneak and show skills. Okay, up against Eco Sakuro. I'm on the play, which is really nice. I think FedEx have a pretty nice ability to take control of games early on, especially on the play. And this hand is a one-lander, but I'm more than happy to keep it because we have 2 accelerants. If we draw into a land, we can play Accelerant and then either Sylvan Library or Thalia, or even Uri if we really need to. So I'm going to keep this. Probably should have the same bird art. It does come up because if my opponent sees one and then I play the other, they know that the birds are still in hand. Whereas if they were the same art, then if my opponent saw one from, like, I don't know, let's say a Cabal Therapy, then they obviously wouldn't know which one I played. Savannah Birds. Obviously, one of the most powerful plays in Legacy is the turn 1 Birds of Paradise off of Savannah. I'm not sure what my opponent is on. Misty Rainforest. Interesting. Leo. So this is an interesting position because if I play the Thalia this turn, and then next turn I don't draw a land, I can't play the Sylvan Library because of Thalia. But if my opponent is on some sort of counter magic deck, I do want to play the Thalia first to kind of bait out a bit of counter magic because we have 3 other Thalias in the deck, or 2, sorry. And being a legendary creature, the extra copies aren't that great, so that's the reason why I want to play the Thalia. But because I didn't draw a land, I really want to dig for it. So I'm happy to take the hit if they do counter the Sylvan Library. Because it's vital for me to start hitting my land drops, and if that resolves, that's pretty massive, which is nice. So Misty doesn't give too much away. Yeah, there's always that predicament of like a Misty being a combo deck, which of course Thalia there is just perfect. But I feel like if I'm trying to win this game, then I have to put the library down and I have to start trying to draw into cards that can allow me to build out my board. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Heavily punished. Oh, maybe not so bad. Okay. So it looks like they were playing around Thalia to an extent. Okay. I'm probably happy to take the Verdant here. I don't think I'm in a position where I'm going to just play the Caracas and hold it up for Thalia. So I think here I'm happy just to go Verdant, fetch away these lands, and then play Bird and Thalia. Haha, yeah, that's fair enough. I think I'm just gonna get a drop here. I could also just try to show that I'm not playing blue. Perhaps that's better. Because it does look like my opponent is setting up for a turn next turn where they can try to go off with their deck. And they've played these Lotus Petals preemptively to play around something like Thalia. So what I can do is just rely on these birds for blue mana and actually just get the second Savannah here to act like we're just a green-white kind of fair Maverick deck. I could pay for Caracas, but I was thinking of a position where maybe my opponent could go off with the Tendrils, and the extra 4 life would be relevant. It'd be two more spells. Eureka! Interesting. Well, that's probably a reason to keep the Caracas. Interesting. And there's Emrakul. I guess it wouldn't have changed anything anyway, which is a little bit rough, but... I still thought the Thalia would be more taxing than the Leo, but obviously not. I think even if we get a turn there, we're not going to be winning that game, unfortunately. So what do I like here? I don't mind the chalices on the play. Deafening Silence is interesting. This looks like it's just a blue-green show and tell list. Plagues are coming out. Abrupt Decays are most likely coming out. Swords are coming out. My only reason for Abrupt Decay, maybe, is that if they did see that we were on green, or on blue, they might think of Carpet of Flowers in the board to bring in. Scoos doesn't really do a whole lot in this matchup. Ramanap usually doesn't do a whole lot because they have a pretty basic heavy mana base. I do like Teeg, I do like Force, I do like Deafening Silence. Yeah, usually the blue-green Omni decks that I've seen haven't been running Lotus Petal. They're a lot slower and kind of try to grind it out a little bit more. Let's keep in a Decay and a Swords. Let's keep in just a Decay. What is this? I do want some sort of answer for something like Carpet of Flowers, but also something like Ice Quaddle to make sure we can keep attacking. It might just be a second Decay and a Swords. Because even if I can trade an Abrupt Decay with a Lotus Petal when they don't want to use it, I don't mind that, but it can be pretty tough to try to sequence that out. So this hand represents turn 2 Gaddock Teeg, but then not a whole lot else. I think because we do have cards like Deafening Silence and Chalice, I kind of want something a little more oomph. This is pretty nice. Knight's probably what I keep here and not the Uro. Because we can go Chalice for 0, Deafening Silence, and then follow it up with a Knight. And I think because Knight has access to Karakas, it's a little bit better than Uro in this case. So I'm going to keep this and bottom the Uro. Alright, play Chalice for 0. I could keep it for 1, but I think just going Deafening Silence and Chalice in the same turn is fine. If I can stop some of their fast mana, I'm pretty happy, but there probably is a consideration there because we are dropping down on so many of our 1 TMC spells that a fine play is just Tundra, Deafening Silence, pass, and then next turn go land into Chalice of the Void. Because although we are turning off Lotus Petal with Chalice for 0, we do have a card like Collector Oof still in the deck that, you know, answers pretty much everything that we need to answer in regards to Chalice for 0, so maybe that was a waste for Chalice, especially because Deafening Silence kind of does the same thing if I'm trying to slow down the game. I think that perhaps playing the Chalice there for 0 was a bit of a waste, and that I can get more value out of it because my opponent is probably playing at least, you know, 4 Ponder, 4 Brainstorm, 4 Preordain, maybe some number of Veil of Summer if they're still afraid of something like Abrupt Decay, but... Yeah. I think what happened there was that I just had kind of a little bit of tunnel vision of, oh, I get to Chalice for 0 and Deafening Silence in one turn, where the correct play I'm going to say is just Deafening Silence and Chalice. Loam players always say show and tell is unwinnable. What makes it easier from Maverick's point of view? Unfortunately, I wouldn't say it's easier. We can close out the game a little bit faster because we have a higher number of threats, but a lot of our disruption is really just speed bumps, which is pretty tough. You know, I kind of need something like Oblivion Ring in the sideboard to make sure I always have something, because even though we have Caracas, which is fine, often Omni doesn't really mean much. But yeah, sadly, I don't think there's any one card that makes the matchup any better for Maverick, unfortunately. We both have access to Knight, which is probably the best card in the matchup. But I mean, if my opponent forces this and then show and tells next turn, then we have nothing, unfortunately. It's gonna resolve. Interesting. Show and Tell is probably a matchup that I'd never, that I would never board for a tournament, but I'm sure I'd have cards like Chalice or Deafening Silence, which are okay against them, that I could play. Rough. I didn't really have a spot there where I could play the Knight as a 3/3, which is pretty tough. Hey Stank Daddy, thanks for the follow. Hope you're well. So here I do have the option of trading in this Nurturing Peatland for another card, but I think it's probably better just to play out the Noble Hierarch to make sure I have green mana, because even if I'm drawing into maybe Thalia as my best draw, because then I have still a white and 1 mana. Pretty happy to take my opponent off probably the Volk, just to keep them off any other sort of removal. The green really just shows something like Icewind Quaddle or Veil of Summer, which I don't really care about. Yeah, I think punishing Maverick probably has the best show and tell matchup, because you have access to Deafening Silence and Pyroblast, so you can always deal with the show and tell on the stack, which is kind of cool. But again, you're just gonna make sure that you have a clock as well, because I think some of the issues with Maverick is that you have so many speed bumps that are great, but they provide a small clock so that your opponent just gets over them over a number of turns and then just fires off their sneak attack or show and tell and just wins from there. Tapped Mystic Sanctuary. Wow, that's their turn. Alright. Okay. And I think a lot of this game at least, has come back to just not playing the Chalice for 2, or Chalice for 1 on turn 2, which is obviously a better use for Chalice here, because looking at the spells I've cast, it's just a lot better. Another Noble's not where I want to be. I'm going to use the Tundra to draw a card, because I don't have access to black. Wasteland. Okay. Yeah, not too sure there. Has Green Summons for Uro come up? It hasn't as much as I thought it would. it's not really the bullet that I want against any matchup. Uro is just really nice as a natural draw. Which is really interesting, because there's been times where I've played Bant or sort of Bug-ish Maverick and just never had anything. Interesting. So this looks like they have a Cunning Wish line. And unfortunately, this is just not going to be good enough. I did think that this was going to be just blue-green Omni, so I didn't think of Pyroblast. But I don't think I would have played the Knight around Pyroblast anyway. I would have just slammed it as the 2/2 and hoped to live the turn. Shared Summons does it. So Shared Summons lets them search a library for 2 creature cards, reveal them, put it into your hand, and then of course you can play a Grizzlebrand and Emrakul for free. But yeah, maybe the better play was just to play the Chalice for 1. Because it does something different to Deafening Silence there, whereas Chalice for 0 kind of does the same thing as Deafening Silence, because if they're going for an aggressive start, it's probably just a Lotus Petal version. Yeah, definitely. That the 3 colors does make sense to play Lotus Petal a lot more than the 2 color version. Tough. Hey Reaper, that's more than fine. I'm sure that if we get paired, you can just you can leave chat and I'll see you after. Fred Shred. Okay. This set is okay. We have removal in both Slits Splashes and Wasteland. We have a nice threat in Night, and then Green Suns can find us a silver bullet if we need one. It's also nice just to have the basic forest in case you're up against some sort of Moon or Wasteland deck. Chancellor, okay. Reanimator. I guess it could be something else, but I'm gonna, yeah, usually say it's gonna be Reanimator. Interesting, so no follow-up. Opponent has 5 cards. So I can't Green Suns this turn because of Chancellor. I can Wasteland my opponent, which isn't the greatest, puts me back a fair bit. And Reanimate has access to a bunch of, 1 mana Reanimates. I kind of want to go Tundra and then just hold up Slits Splashes the following turn, but of course once Chancellor comes into play, it's going to cost a little bit more. So if I Wasteland my opponent and then they Reanimate Chancellor, it's a 4-turn clock, and I have 3 turns to play lands, to play Slits Splashes, and dodge any sort of hand disruption. I think it's just Tundra Pass, because I think Tundra Pass definitely doesn't give away that we're on Maverick, and it allows me to build out my mana here. Could definitely, yeah, throw away the Green Suns as well, but I don't really want to show what we're on yet. got it. I'm not going to concede because we obviously are still in this game. Swords. Just a pass. Interesting. So they either have nothing or they're holding up Entomb to put something better in the graveyard for next turn and then maybe use that 2-mana Reanimate spell. I'm going to play Wasteland Pass and see what they do. And if they entomb my end step, they entomb my end step, but if not, then I'm probably more than happy to, yeah. Hey 90s MTG. I think I will waste them. I just wanted to see what they did first. So we're still pretty far off playing the Knight or the Green Suns. Hey Ramar, welcome. I think the one way I can squeeze a win out here is that my opponent has a 2 CMC Reanimate spell and they don't have the second land for it. Nice. Okay. Well, that's a good start. Like, I think Thalia is probably my best draw, but I still can't play it because of Chancellor. Green Suns. Okay. Well, now I'm pretty happy to throw Green Suns into Chancellor and pay for it. This is game 1, yeah. So definitely play for this, pay for this, and just get dried up. And pass. If we can get Knight onto the field, I'll be very happy. Because then we have access to Caracas. Oh, there's a ritual. Yeah, well, thankfully they had nothing last turn, so... Do feel a animate dead. Okay. Hey Spiller, you can find the deck list on the screen as well through the Cardboard Live functionality. Probably just... Oh, child, okay. That makes sense. I guess we can just 6 here. Yeah, Kaya's a sweet card. I think not enough Legacy players know what Kaya does either, so you can get some pretty awesome wins from just ulting her at 5, which is cool. But there's an abundance of creatures that are hits. See what they have. So I assume this is they're playing a Tendrils as well. Guess we'll see what happens. Reanimate child. Get it back. 7. I think my way out of this was playing the Green Suns earlier and just throwing it away so that I could play the Knight. But if they're gonna Tendrils me anyway, the Knight wouldn't have done anything this turn either. Is fine. At least boarding, we do have some cool stuff. So I definitely want to think about Leyline. Deafening Silence is great. Chalice is great. Containment Priest is great. And BUG. Abrupt Decay I don't mind skimping on. I do like keeping at least one in the deck for Animate Dead, and also if they're gonna shift towards just playing kind of fair creatures like Rotting Regisaur. I do like cutting Plague Engineer. I do like cutting Raminap. Uro is a little bit too slow. Collector Oof is fine, but Chalice kind of does the same thing. And the issue with Collector Oof is that against Reanimator, if they're playing Lotus Petal, they're usually playing it in the same turn. So it's not like they're going to go Petal Petal land pass and then allow us to actually play the Oof and turn them off. I don't mind dropping down on a library either. Questing Beast is okay, especially as just a hasty threat. I don't mind it. Kai is obviously quite good. I don't want to overboard either, but I think this is fine because all of these are just such good spells. I don't mind dropping down on a land, being Savannah. Still like Thalia's on the play. It might just be a bird. Go down on a mana accelerant. Because a lot of our plays are early on, so I don't really mind about not having the mana accelerant. I think this is fine. This is an interesting one. The Bog's nice, but at sorcery speed it's a little less appealing. Having the swords is nice, but I don't think this really does anything, especially if my opponent has something like Unmask, which is usually how the really good starts go. So I'm going to mulligan and see if I can hit Leyline. Okay. So this is nice because we hit Leyline and we also have a really playable hand. So I think it's just keep this in bottom of the Wasteland. Yeah, it's definitely a land. I'm just not sure which one it is. It might just be the Scrub land. And then I can get a Bayou with the Verdant. I do like the Noble as it turns on a turn 2 Knight. Also Green Suns for 2 on turn 2. I think it is the Scrub land. There isn't really a black card either that I really need in this matchup, so I think getting a Savannah is fine in case for some reason my opponent gets rid of the Noble Hierarch. I'll be 1 sec. Yeah, I've seen some players playing Dark Blast, which doesn't do too well with Leyline, but I think that there's no reason not to go for Savannah's fine here. Looks a little bit dead. Interesting. Let's go with Thalia first. Play Wasteland Pass. Missed a point there, but I think it's fine. I could attack with the Noble and use the Thalia. Use the Wasteland to cast the Thalia. Windswept. Okay. So I could play the Green Suns here for 2, or I could play the Bog this turn and then untap and know that I can Green Suns for 3, which I think is just a little bit better. I think it's okay to use the Bog here, even though it's not doing anything. Especially if my opponent does just have like a natural turn 3 Rotting Regisaur or something to that effect, then I kind of want to get a Knight big enough to be able to kill it before it kills us. Interesting. Happy to attack first. Just going for another Reliquary here because it gives us access to... I guess Leovold's interesting as well, but I think Knight's just a little bit better because it is a faster clock. Not even an Assassin's Trophy from our opponent. I thought that's what they might have been doing in our end step, but obviously not. Maybe this is like a Reverend Silence? Okay. That's fine. Now what? Ritual for 3. Entomb with 1 mana floating. Nothing. Of course. That makes this a lot easier. I guess I don't really need to use this group the scavenging ooze right now. Yeah. I can just wait. I think I'm happy just running this back. There's no real changes that I want to make. Force is always an interesting one, but I don't think Force is necessarily that good. If you get to get an animate dead, that's pretty nice, but I think there's just probably... I think Decay is probably better than Force of Vigor. I think it's just too narrow that is going to come up. Whereas Abrupt Decay is a little bit better. Yeah, I'm just going to run this back. But Force is an interesting one. Teeg's also pretty interesting as well if they're relying on Reverend Silence. But this hand is fine. Leyline Leyline Noble into Kaya is pretty sweet. But a little bit weak otherwise. Hopefully this is okay. It's always nice to have a leyline hand with at least a little bit of a plan, and this hand does have that. I think I might as well just go Nurturing Peatland into Noble and keep the Misty around, because I still don't know if my opponent is on some sort of sideboard plan where they change to creatures, and if they do, then I have a pretty good chance of drawing into a Green Suns for Script Ranger to then have Dried Arbor as a blocker, which I can return each turn. So I think because of that interaction, I'll leave the Misty for later on. Chalice is pretty sweet. I think the Chalice for 0 is fine. I'm definitely playing the Peatland and Noble Hierarch. And then I think it's just Peatland, it's just Chalice to turn off the Lotus Petal lines. Because Chalice for 0 also kind of forces my opponent to go for dual lands, which turns on these wastelands, which is nice. I don't think I have time to put Chalice on 2. I think because Chalice turns off Lotus Petal and I have 2 Wastelands in my hand, I'm more than happy to play Chalice here for 0. Because then it shuts off the Lotus Petal line for mana, so they have to go for dual lands with their basics. With their fetches. So I could just play Kaya here. But that doesn't do a whole lot. My other option is just attacking with Noble Hierarch and then playing Wasteland. And if they fetch for jewels in their end step, I can at least waste 1. And maybe put them in a position where they put a creature in the bin, but then have to wait a turn to actually reanimate it. And that makes Kaya better. Hey Lee, welcome. Hope you're well. Because Kaya here doesn't do a whole lot, especially if they're working at sorcery speed, then Kaya is never going to have the chance to actually exile something. So perhaps the better play is just to attack with Noble, or even just hold up Nurturing Peatland, but I kind of want that so that next turn I can play the Kaya. Maybe a little bit more risky, but I think this is fine. Nothing from my opponent. What actually is the wording on Reverend Silence? Still nothing. Do I want to cash in the Nurturing Peatland? I don't think I do. We're versing Black-Red Reanimator. Night of Autumn. I think here I'm happy just to probably hold up the Nurturing Peatland and double Wasteland. And just be really patient on this Kaya. And then next turn, we can play either one of these. Even the Knight is just a 4-3 I'm pretty happy with. Interesting. I'm not going to cash this in. I'm going to wait a turn because I want the mana here. Oh, Priest is sweet. Okay. Let's go with... Alright. I'm going to fetch... I'm going to play Kaya and then hold up Containment Priest. I think it's a pretty nice draw. We need white mana. I won't exile anything, and then we can just hold up Containment Priest. Yeah, Kaya and Leyline is pretty sweet, especially because it just makes the clock so much faster. Another fetch. So they're pretty close to something like just 4 lands, Dark Ritual, Grave Titan. That's not okay. Pretty similar. Probably not in power level, but still pretty good. Attack first. And then I'm probably happy to crack the Peatland before I play anything, just to see what I draw it into. Yeah, Priest in Modern is very cool. Big fan. Oh, Thalia is interesting. I don't mind Thalia here, just to really put... Especially if my opponent has some sort of artifact or enchantment that I can deal with. I'm happy just to go with Thalia here. Tick up Kaya and pass. Karakas would be interesting. I'm trying to think of some big legendary creatures in Modern. Outside of Uro. I guess Karakas Uro would be pretty... Yeah, not the funnest, but... They are all legendary. Yeah, Port would be cool. Especially seeing how it's so cheap right now. What's opponent waiting on? Leo. It's pretty sweet. Oh, but I don't have black mana. Wow. Ah, the peatland was my black source. Huh. Alright. Obviously, like a plethora of hate here. So I'm not sure what my opponent is. If my opponent has an out other than like hard casting something. Noble. I'm just gonna keep this noble in hand. Is there any reason to? Maybe not. I don't think I need to cast the noble. Hey Cal, welcome. Hope you're well. I didn't use the Kaya. Should have used the Kaya. Yeah. That was interesting. I wonder what my opponent had, because they literally did not play a single spell in that game. Which, I feel like they were using their fetch lands to get to like Grave Titan or something. But obviously just didn't have it. They should add cards that are not playable in Legacy to Modern, keep the cards feeling diff. Yeah, I do like closing the gap between Modern and Legacy, especially for those that want to enter the format and see what it's like. Ah. Yeah, where do you think Port would find space in Modern? Outside of Aether Vial decks. Why not double Wasteland and -5 Kaya? I could, but that only puts them down to 2. It doesn't kill them. I was kind of hoping that they gave us an extra turn. We can just attack with Noble Hierarch with Exalted and then deal with them. Ah, it's Vuk. Interesting. So this is probably going to be something like the Mirror. I'm pretty happy to keep this. What to an E-Tron? Interesting. Urborg. Oh no. Okay. So this could be Depths. It could also be like a mono black combo deck. If the sword goes, I'm going to say it's Depths. If the Thalia goes, I'm going to say it's combo. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be Depths. Interesting. Come on, no Dark Depths Thespian stage. Dark Depths are... Okay, only a Thespian stage. But maybe a Hex Mage. Okay. Okay, that gives us a turn, maybe? So Dark Depth's next turn they can have through Thespian Stage or Vampire Hexmage. And now they obviously have something like Crop Rotation open as well. Sylvan Scrying. Okay. So they're getting Dark Depths. That's fine. Come on, deck. This is where I really need you to perform. Uro is pretty sweet. That puts me above 20 as well. How do I want to tap? Probably just like this. Draw first. Savannah. I think I'm okay just putting in the trop. They already know about the trop. They don't know about the C. Alright, so at least I have a few turns. So I have the 3 life from Uro, which is really nice. I have the bird to block if needed. Caracas. Okay. Duress is fine. They've already played a land for turn. Reclaimer, okay. No attack with the Hexmage is interesting. I wonder why. Gonna pay. Probably just get Dried Arbor. Untap. Happy to attack with the bird. That's a free point. But I really need like a Green Suns or just to try to fill my graveyard as well to get this Uro back, but it's gonna take some time. This is fine. He's really just drawing a card. I don't mind drawing a card here because I have literally nothing else going on. They're going to attack with that, so this does make it a little bit easier. They probably make it now and play around Wasteland, but it looks like they won't. Interesting. Script Ranger. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I don't think we attack Noble because of the Elvish Reclaimer, but I could attack with the bird. probably attack with a bird because we have the Script Ranger, but also they could think we have Caracas and we're trying to make them have the 2021st. So now, if they have step, they have step, but... I guess they have Reclaimer up. They have Reclaimer, so they definitely have step, which is rough. I guess we can make them use it. Because we're at 22, so we're still alive, which is nice. Untap the bird, return the forest. See if they use step. They don't. It gives us a free turn. I think Script Ranger does a little bit more for us, so I'm just going to block here with the bird. Fine. That's fine. These duresses. I kind of want them to hit something, because then I can hopefully get back the Uro. Alright. Come on, Caracas, one time. Oko's pretty good, not gonna lie. Oko is pretty solid. Can I cast Uro and Oko? I think I can. They have the Caracas, but... 1, 2, 3, 4. Fetch. Oh, is this a Bog? Ah, okay. Bog's pretty good. But at least that saves the Marit Lage. It means the Marit Lage can't be stopped from step, which is nice. I think I'm happy just dealing with the 2020 here, just to turn it off. I thought they might attack with both. I'm pretty happy just to put this in front. Just to keep the Yoko alive. Green Suns is pretty sweet. Green Suns for Knight. The only issue is that Knight is only a 2/2, but it's probably still good enough. Is Knight what I really want? I think it is. Yeah, I think we make food as well. But then they get... Yeah, I think we make food as well, because we can make, Let's do this right. Let's attack with Script Ranger. Yeah, Questing Beast gets hit by Caracas, unfortunately. So let's go float, untap this, return this, play this. Green Suns. I don't think Leo does enough either because of the Caracas as well. I'd rather just get a Knight online and then tick up for food. I guess I could have played the Thalia as well. There's no reason not to play the Thalia. Copying the forest is good because now we can't wasteland the Thespian stage. I think here it's just a case of putting the Script Ranger in front of the Reclaimer. Because I think Oko is just too good here. I think Oko is better than Script Ranger, and that's why I'm going to block with Script Ranger. Yeah, I feel like Script has kind of done its job as well. I don't think I want to create food here. I think I am happy just making that a 3/3. Dried Up is gone. Okay, so land. Make this a creature. There's really no point playing the Thalia, but I might as well. They can still return it in my turn, but I might as well make them do that. I'm not going to attack. I could attack, but I think this is fine. I think just protecting the Oko right now is kind of my number one. Ooh, that's pretty good. I guess we make them use it. I don't think there's anything we can do here. Even Knight can't do anything. Unless we, like, draw into Swords to Plowshares. But they probably give pro green here, so they can get through both. So this turn it's probably worth sacking a land to try to find Swords to Plowshares off Nurturing Peatland. Oh, I can Caracas it, can't I? Yep. Should have definitely done that. I should have looked at chat first. Dancing Jesus. That's 100% correct. Rough. Oh, they're going at me. Interesting. Yeah, definitely, it makes a lot of sense. Create a food. I think I might just name human? Vampire Hexmage is a vampire shaman. Because that can trade with the Oko if needed. Oh wow, okay. Nice. I'm sure there's some plays there that I could have done a lot better. So this is going to be an interesting one. I don't mind the Force of Vigor. I don't mind the Zealous. Definitely the Vraska. The Thalias are definitely coming out. Yeah, it's really the Safekeeper, the Sylvan, sorry, the Vampire Hexmage that I'm kind of worried about. But yeah, getting Caracas there was just the correct line. Thalia's coming out. Zealous Persecution is interesting because it deals with things like Sylvan Safekeeper and Hexmage. It might force them when they don't want to be forced. Hey Jerry, welcome, hope you're well. We're currently playing against Matt Vuk. Luckily up a game. They are on green-black depths. But I'm not sure if it's the it doesn't look like the turbo version, but it definitely could be. Bog's actually pretty interesting because of Elvish Reclaimer. I think Bog's worth it, so that makes 61. Collector Oof is probably okay, seeing it turns off both Lotus Petal and Mox Diamond, no matter what type they are. Plague Engineer is fine, Questing Beast is okay. Maybe Questing Beast is where I want to actually drop. As fun as it is, they have so many ways to deal with it. Yeah, I think Uro is okay because it's a way to put me above 20 life, which is pretty huge. I don't think we want Armageddon, but it is pretty spice. Yeah, I'm just going to submit this and see how it goes. I think the 4 cards we brought in are pretty nice, so... This is an okay hand. It's a little bit open to hand disruption because then we don't really have anything. We have 2 bears that are okay in the matchup but don't do too much. But I think this is fine. Wasteland's pretty nice. I do have to watch my time as well. Matt has 5 minutes on me. Sylvan Scrying, okay. Thespian Stage, okay. Swords. I think just Wasteland into Scoos here is fine. I could also go Wasteland into Collector Oof, which might be a little bit better, in case they're holding some amount of creatures. I don't think Scoos is doing too much here anyway. Going off the Urborg here seems interesting, but I think holding the Wasteland is fine. Tsunami's pretty cool. I've definitely seen it before, but Hexmage. This is probably still fine because we have the swords. Unless they have crop into their own, like... I think this is fine. Unless they have crop into their own, like, Ghost Quarter or Wasteland. But even then, we still have Swords to Plowshares, which is nice. Uro is pretty good. I'm going to attack first. So I can cast Uro, but then they have a line where they can play around Swords to Plowshares because I'm tapped out. But I think that's okay if I'm going above 20 life. We have the Wasteland anyway, so this should be fine. Yeah, we won't be tapped out. We will be tapped off white, but that's about it. Let's just play the Verdant. Doesn't really matter. So now's the question, do I want to force it? Because we know they have Thespian Stage as well. We can fetch white, but... So in response to... say in response to Uro there, they could have crop rotated for Wasteland or Ghost Quarter and hit our Wasteland. Or probably just Wasteland, and then we have to respond, and then they can respond. But I think this is okay. Ghost Quarter, interesting. So I think here we go swords on the Hex Mage in response. Which now means they either have to crop for like step or try to target the Dark Depths or just lose the Hex Mage. Which is pretty tough. Interesting. So now I am going to use it, but now it's a case of, do I want to go after the Dark Depths or the Urborg? And I think it is just the Dark Depths. I could take them off black. I know that one of their cards in hand is Thespian Stage. Yeah, I guess we just go for the Dark Depths. Because they can float 2 and then crop. Oh, they're not going to float. Okay. Oh, they don't have to. That makes sense. This is fine. Just hope they don't have Not of This World. Wasteland, okay. I mean, we start with the swords, right? They have it. I guess we can try to draw into Caracas, but otherwise we're dead. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. I guess the other play was Uro, and maybe that was correct. Yeah, I think there the play was just to play Uro. Because then we go up to 22. I mean, we can see if we draw Caracas. Green Suns doesn't do enough. Yeah. Rough. Probably just the same thing. Yeah. It made them have to respond. So if I don't play the Hex Mage, then they have, then they can just use the Dark Depths anyway. Yeah, that's fair enough. I didn't really think of that. It's mainly so I could try to just make them gain 2 instead of gaining 20. Because right then my only way to win was to clock them, and I don't really want to get them to gain 20, so I'd rather see if I can allow them to gain 2 life, and then not gain the 20. I'll keep this. A little bit slow, but I think it's okay. Yeah, that's very true. I could have used Wasteland first up. Safekeeper's okay. Decay. Just gonna go for Noble and pass back. Scrying is fine. All right. I think just Uro to try to find another land here is fine. Nice. Hey Rain, welcome. Hope you're well. Fetch here. I'm just gonna get a Bazooka Bayou. And then Needle Sticks. Probably naming Wasteland. I'm playing Persecution because there's a few decks where I want the just overall neg1 effect. Things like Elves, where they also have Wirewood Symbiote, Esper Vial, where they have a number of different creature types. It's just easy to cast as well, and it also allows us to do some sort of combat differences. What do I want to do here? I think I just want to use a Decay and see if they sack the Safekeeper. Just to fill the bin. I'm gonna sack a land, that's fine. I might as well use another Decay here, I don't really mind. Yeah, I think I just want to, I do want to fill my bin for the Uro, so I think this is okay. I can also use the Zealous to go to 1. Interesting, they're gonna do it now. Which is nice, because I get to plow now and then see if I can untap. Elvish Spirit Guide Crop. I think in response here, I just want a swords. They're probably getting Bojuka Bog, but I guess we can wait and see, let's be honest. Two cards left for my opponent. Oh my gosh. Pretty good. I don't think I want to use the mana. I think I'm happy just passing back. I think that's it, sadly. Because we can't gain life, we can't do anything. Rough. Just, yeah, couldn't beat the double Not of This World. And then also the crop for the bog was insane. I think my only way to win that was maybe to gain some time with the Uro, but that's Magic sometimes. Cool deck, but I have seen people kind of move away from Dark Depths in Maverick, but it would have been interesting. Hey Wolf, a huge thank you for the 2-month sub. Very nice. You're welcome, dude. I should have actually asked you what you were playing online and then just done the same deck instead of giving you just a random 5-0 list from MTG Goldfish. Would have made a lot more sense. But I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, a pretty sweet deck. But yeah, Depth's like traditionally a really good matchup. Just gotta find your knights early on. Your swords are okay, but there's a few things. I've definitely heard of the 7-point tournament Angus is getting together. I'm just not the biggest fan of camera magic, unfortunately. But it should be a sweet event. KP Beta on the draw. Unfortunately, this is where Underground Sea isn't the greatest, so I'm going to mulligan this, but otherwise it would have been a pretty interesting hand to keep if this was a green source. Oh, it's MTGO Magic? Okay, cool. No lander. We have a Wasteland, but I'm definitely, sadly, putting this back as well. Alright. Keep. I'm going to put back the Tundra and the Peatland. And then just hope a turn 2 Oko is good enough. Okay. Interesting. Nothing in the bin yet, which is good for us. Once Upon a Time. Once Upon a Time is really nice for consistency and finding cards like Plague Engineer, but I just wanted to play a few more removal spells in Decay and a few more Planeswalkers, which don't go that well with Once Upon a Time, and it allows you to play a little bit more oomph than just relying on kind of. I think the deck's consistent already. I think that Once Upon a Time just gives it a little bit more consistency that it doesn't really need. But I am a fan of the card. I think there are builds that it's really nice in. Running the full 4 swords, but I think I want to save this for something a little bit bigger than the Stitches Supplier. So I think I'm still happy just going with a turn 2 Oko. I'm running 3 decay. Yeah, the issue with those decks is that you can brainstorm and ponder into them, whereas I can't. So I want to make sure that the matches where swords is really good, that I do have it in my opening hand, or at least within my first few draws. Attack's fine. So no Hedron Crab for my opponent. I've definitely tested going down on swords, but I usually miss it. Which is, you know, tough. Bloodghast. That's fine. Oh, Sylvan Library. Wow. I still think Oko's just best here. I could Sylvan Library and hold up Plow, which plays a little bit better into Cabal Therapy, because then they can't take, you know, 2 things if they wanted to. But I'm probably okay with just Oko here. I think, yeah, Oko just wins games. Ugh, it is a despicable card. I'd love to be in the position where I could actually 3-3 the Stitches Supplier, but that would kill the Oko on the swing back, so unfortunately this is what I have to go with. I'm sure there is a turn as well where my opponent can do some shenanigans and get Vengevines into play to kill the Oko, but hopefully that isn't going to happen here, and hopefully this Oko sticks around, because untapping with Sylvan Library, Karakas up, and Swords to Plowshares ready, and Oko is pretty nice. Yeah, it's fair enough. If they do start on like a Vengevine start, then Library obviously gets a ton worse because you can't be so aggressive with it. Yeah, BUG Hogaak, a very cool deck. Definitely a lot of play to it. And there's Cabal. I wonder if they name Green Suns or Swords to Plowshares. They could also name like Knight. They probably go for a 4 of. I think Swords to Plowshares is a pretty good name. They named Green Suns, okay. Well, at least you're not watching the stream. They probably flash back the Bloodghast here, and then play a land to get the Bloodghast back. Or they might attack the Oko first. Attack Oko, flashback Cabal, and then play a land to get back Bloodghast. They could also, of course, sack the Stitches Supplier to get 3 more cards into the bin. Attack Oko, that's fine. Stream snipe and get therapy wrong? Nice, I like that. Gonna cast Cabal, okay. Well, they hit a Vengevine. Interesting, but nothing else really. Swords, yeah. I guess they could go land 1-drop, 1-drop, get back Vengevine. That actually would have killed the Oko pre-combat, but I guess you don't know if you're going to hit it or not. I assume that means they don't have 2 creatures, because if they did, they probably would have gone for that line. Thalia is pretty nice. Tick up on the food. Karakas. play Library, and then play Thalia, and then just pass. It's pretty good. It means that the food can block a 3/3 and the Thalia can block Bloodghast, and it can trade pretty favorably. This is always a pretty fun matchup. There's a lot of interaction. They can have pretty fast starts, especially their bridge from below altar starts can just be kind of unwinnable. But they do have to get to that stage, and usually you can interact with them on the way there. But it's tough. I think that Hogaak is a little bit favored in game 1, but I think in the post-board games we probably come up to par. Just because they have the out of going wide with zombies and altar in game 1, that can be pretty hard to deal with. Yeah, it can be relatively tough. I'm gonna put the Dried Arbor back and pay for the Verdant so I can shuffle this away. There is thought to just getting really aggressive, making the Noble a 3/3 and attacking for 6. I don't mind that. And then holding back the Thalia and swords. And also Dried Arbor, which is nice. I could attack for 8, but then they could deal... I guess they can't. Yeah, I could attack for 8 there. Definitely in a pretty happy spot. I mean, we have the board. They aren't really using their graveyard as effectively as they could because of their hits have been pretty mediocre. So luckily for us, it's really just the Vengevine that I have to worry about in the graveyard, and that's covered by Swords to Plowshares. I could have also created a food to set up a trade, and then keep the Oko at 1. But I think this is okay. This looks like a Hogaak. Altar, okay. Maybe the altar means that I want to hit the Bloodghast here, because Bloodghast with the Misty is pretty good. And it's not like they're casting 2 creatures this turn with only 2 cards in hand. So I think swordsing the Bloodghast here is fine. I'd rather than them not hit bridges. Ah, of course you can't tap a Lance for Hogaak, of course, it's only creatures. Yeah, I think this is fine. I think the Bloodghast is just going to be an engine that they can actually use, so if I can turn that off before the ult comes into play, then I'm pretty happy. I do want to fetch for a black source as well. I don't want to fetch for the Dried Arbor. So I'll get a Bayou. Knight's pretty sweet. Dried Arbor, put on top. Huh. I think I want to turn the altar into a creature, but I want to do that after combat. So I think just Green Suns is fine. I could also go get Ooze, which is pretty good, but I only have 1 green open with Thalia out. But I think that's fine, so put on top. I can't. Yeah, because the Noble is a... To be fair, I could just also go for Collector Oof. I don't mind that. And then just attack for 9. Create a food and attack. Yeah, I was thinking about the Noble Hierarch being a mana source there, but of course it's a 3/3. So Knight would have been pretty sweet, because it's also a 5/5, which blocks a Vengevine pretty well. So it kind of does the same thing as a Scooz. Rough spot for them. Their hits weren't that great. They didn't start on like a Heatran Grab line, so pretty lucky for us. I do like ley lines. I do like Bog. Containment Priest is interesting. It does stop Bloodghast, but they can just choose not to put it in. I guess it kind of also stops Vengevine, so I think it's worth it. Zealous is actually really interesting here, and I think Zealous is okay. I think we definitely take out the Thalias. It just doesn't tax them a whole lot, especially on the draw. Ramanap I think is a little bit overkill. I think we can take out that. I'm happy to take out the second Savannah. Swords is good, Mana Acceleration is good, Scooz is okay. Collector Oof is an interesting one. I don't think we need it. Even though they have altars, I think the ley lines and the decays are more than enough. Leo is always an interesting one. If they're playing their own Sylvan Library, I'm not sure if they do play their own Sylvan Library, that's probably the only card that I would really think of. I do like the Plagues, and that's a big reason why I like the Mana Acceleration. It might just be one Sylvan Library, to be fair. Yeah, I think this is okay. Vraska is interesting, but I think they go too wide. That Vraska doesn't do a whole lot. I don't want to trade, 4 mana for a 2 mana creature that they can probably get back. Hey Kraydon, welcome. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a nice weekend. Yeah, let's see how this goes. I think the ley lines will be really big, so if we can get a nice ley line hand, then I'll be very happy. Interesting hand. Bojuka Bog at sorcery speed isn't the worst against them, but the mana here is pretty rough. Because the Bog doesn't really help for any of these with the Wasteland as well. Yeah. I'm gonna mulligan this one. I think they're up at a better 7s. This hand has a few answers, but it doesn't really have a plan, especially with the mana. It's pretty rough, so I'm gonna mulligan this. Interesting, and at least we can cast a leyline if we draw into it. This is probably okay, but it's really bad against their fast starts, which I think I'm happy to mulligan once more and get punished. Get punished. Okay, we got there. Keep this. Bottom. Probably swords. I think Abrupticatus has a little bit more to it. I think the fair plan was fine. because like this is a reason why you don't mulligan to Leyline aggressively against these sort of decks, because they can just play like a 2/1 and then untap and play a 2/1 and they just beat you down before you really do anything. Leyline isn't like the big match winner it is against something like Reanimator. But unfortunately that 5 was just, you can't keep that, unfortunately. Pretty funny. Yeah, at least this could make them stumble, which is nice. It'll be interesting as well that if we don't draw a land, if I should play the BUG Hogaak just to make sure I have the mana for Abrupt Decay the following turn. Yeah, definitely. Force of Vigor is a great card to answer Leyline. I think for that reason I might try to keep this Bog in hand for as long as possible. Wasteland. That's interesting. Wasteland isn't doing much for this hand anyway. So if I can slow them down with something like Assassin's Trophy or Abrupt Decay as well, I'm pretty happy. More so Assassin's Trophy because it deals with Leyline. Well, that's a pretty sweet card. I guess I should have played the BUG Hogaak tapped, just in case we don't draw a land here. I don't think we need the BUG Hogaak in hand. I think the best play was just to hopefully get him with the Zealous. Yeah. Oof. Oh, please. Please. Land. Come on. Come on. Ah! Rough. That would have been pretty sweet. Alright. I just have to fade hand disruption for one turn. That's all I want. I think we fetch a Savannah. Savannah leads to the most amount of gains. And then I assume we Zealous Persecution in their upkeep, so we play around Force of Vigor. See what they discard. RUG Hogaak, okay. So that makes me think that they just don't have a way to deal with Leyline, and so they're just going to try to go wide on this board. Oh, yes. I'm a happy person right now. This is fine. Knight. All right, let's just pass back and see if they build anything out to the board. I'm not playing around Assassin's Trophy, I guess, but we'll see what happens. Hey, Donut, welcome. Hope you're well. So I want to see them tap a mana pre-combat, because if I go Zealous Persecution and they go Assassin's Trophy on the Leyline in response, it's going to be pretty rough, but we'll see what happens. Nice. It's pretty good. Land for night, land for night, land for night. Very nice. Very night. That's a 4/4. Nice. 4/1 felt pretty good. 4/1 felt very good. I could have waited for the Bloodghast, but I didn't want to take that. This is game 2, and luckily we got up in game 1. Yeah, definitely got rewarded for mulliganing to the leyline hand, which isn't something that I like to say is a great strategy, but there definitely are decks where leyline just gives you enough time to get back to the advantage you would have had with the 7 card anyway. All right, so at least we can play it out for the 3/2 would be nice. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. Yeah, mulliganing is a interesting world. We had some cool matches tonight. So we played against Depths, Blue, Green, Show and Tell, Hogaak, and there's one more there. This hand is interesting. It's very much dependent on Wasteland. I'm gonna see how this goes. It's a little bit risky because Knight could just be nothing, but I'm gonna keep. Duck Mongoose. Not too sure what they're up on. Just gonna go Snow into Bird. Not too sure what we're up against. I'm going to assume Delver, but maybe that's incorrect. I'm going to waste on an upkeep just to play around Stifle, in case that's a thing. Underground Sea but nothing. That's an interesting one. And a main deck Bog? Maybe this is a really slow 4-color Loam deck? I really want a 2-mana spell here. Ugh. This looks like Loam. So I kind of want to keep the... I think I play the Dryad Arbor, keep the Wasteland for something like an actual colored land, and then also hold up swords for like Bajuka, for Dark Confidant. I think that's fine. Interesting keep from my opponent. Scrubland's okay. Yeah, nice. Perfect. Swords this. I can't really deal with it otherwise. Come on. Oh, Kaya? Yes. So now we get to Wasteland their Scrubland and then play Kaya. Oh, we can't. Oh, we don't have the colors for it. Rough. That's fine. I think it's best just holding up the knight here. Not playing it as a 4-3. Yeah, maybe it is better as a clock, because I guess Kaya can deal with most things that hit the board anyway. Like Mox Diamond. Yeah. Yeah, this still works out, but I guess it actually came back to us that we maybe could have not played the Snow-Covered Forest. If they Loam here, then we get hit. But I guess then we get hit the Loam, so not the worst, but it worked out nicely, I guess. Knight. Alright, so let's go Kaya. Exile your Loam. Attack with both. And the next time we get Knight as well. Yeah, I think that's a pretty reasonable play to just put down a clock when you can. Knight's fine. They've already used their Bog, which is nice. Wasteland. That's pretty interesting. I can waste their Savannah and then tick up with Kaya. I don't mind that. The nice thing about the early clock as well is that it makes Bob that little bit worse every time it hits, because it is a little bit risky to try to play it out early on. This feels like a decay. Okay. We're attacking. Interesting. Probably just don't want the Kai to get to ulti, which is pretty funny. Green Sun's Questing Beast. Nice. I think we're going for Questing Beast. So it's an attack for 9, but then they get to hold up the Knight. QB's nice because it puts pressure on. The other consideration is Leovold or Scavenging Ooze. I guess I can try to not show that we're on blue either and just go for Questing Beast, because we haven't shown that yet. Which is actually relevant because of Oko and Uro. Yeah, I think Beast is like, you know, have Swords to Plowshares, and if not, then you have to use your Knight next turn for Caracas. They don't main swords? Yeah, that makes actually a lot of sense because the Chalice is in the deck. Questing Beast. Attack with both. Exile Decay. Alright. Yeah, and I think maybe that's a part of my game plan, or part of like how I play Magic that I can build on. Is not just holding the Knight so I can get value off it, but realizing that there's value in having it as a fast clock and having it as a turn 2 4/3. Like that's still fine. Yeah, Kai are really nice in this matchup. Especially for Loam, where they do depend on the graveyard a little bit more than Maverick. They do play life in the Loam. They do maybe have something like Cabal Pit, which uses Threshold. They rely on Knights to win the game, other than, you know, like maybe Oko, maybe some other sort of creatures like Leovold or Dark Confidant. Best form of card advantage is killing your opponent while they still have cards in their hand. Yeah, Loam's always an interesting one. I feel like Loam is a little bit unfavored if they have their really fast starts, like turn 1 Mox Diamond into Chalice into Knight, or turn 1 Mox Diamond into Dark Confidant, and I don't have an answer. Play Dried Arbor for turn. Now they're decaying something. Kaya, okay. And now they're holding up Knight. Windswept. So they're holding up Caracas. I 100% assume they have Caracas in the deck. I think we still just attack with Knight, Questing Beast, and Dried Arbor. Because they are at 5. I guess they could go to 1. Yeah, I think that's the case as well, because they could just block the Dried Arbor and then Questing Beast that and go to 1. So I think this is fine. They could get Wasteland and Wasteland something as well, and just not care about the Questing Beast. So this is maybe another reason why I do like the attack with Dried Arbor, because they could have gone for like Wasteland us. I guess then they lose the Knight. They could Wasteland themselves, not the greatest, yeah. Okay. Tough spot. But trading the Knight for the Knight is pretty huge. I do like just redeploying the Knight here, and then probably keeping the Windswept Teeth in hand. Hey Boyd, welcome. Yeah, it was a really nice trade. I think this is fine. I don't think I want to play this Windswept Teeth. Oh, they could also jump. Yeah, that's very true. They could jump a Dryad and sack it. I guess they can't. Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Maybe they just wanted to get rid of the Knight of Autumn, but I'm not too sure why. Wasteland off the top is a live draw, which is nice. This looks like Leo. Oko. Alright. Make a food. Alright. Come on, deck, one time. Wasteland, please. Collect oof. I guess we can see what they do, if they do anything in response. Is there reason not to play the Questing Beast? It means they can't Oko it. Hey Embask. Welcome, hope you're doing okay in Texas. Yeah, I think playing the Questing Beast is fine. Yeah, if they elk it, that's more than fine. They can still return an elked Questing Beast with Caracas, but I don't think they would. Yeah, they can't just bounce it. Maze. Maze is fine. Thankfully, Maze does nothing with Questing Beast in play. Knight's pretty good. Oko's just so good here. Ooh, Uro, interesting. Alright, let's start with that. If I can draw a land... I probably shouldn't have used the bird because it is one of my blue sources. Hiya! Swords. Okay. Well, swords is interesting. Oh, they also tap Caracas. Huh. So we can attack with Questing Beast. I hope they don't. I hope they don't block and they just maze it. What you doing? What you doing? Maze does not stop damage because combat damage can't be stopped. And even if they double block, we have the swords for the knight. Which I think we don't have to do because of the Bojuka Bog already in play. But we'll see what happens here. Yeah, Death Touch is nice, so maybe that is the play. But I guess I kind of like keeping the Questing Beast. Haha, hey boy, thank you very much. Interesting, they're just going to block with the one creature. That is fine. I think I'm happy just to Swords the Knight to get rid of it, and not allowed to turn online. Hey Miguel, welcome. Hope you're having a nice weekend. Very well, thank you. Hope you're well. Hope you're doing okay. Hope your mice are well as well. So next turn we get to get Uro back. Unless they have, like, green suns for Scavenging Ooze, Bob is fine. So right now, Karakas is their only way to deal with the Questing Beast. Rats. Sorry. Apologies. Thalia. Okay, that does nothing. Let's go... let's tap like this, because if we draw into Abrupt Decay, I want to be able to cast it. Get back Uro. Take out Swords, Kaya. Probably just like Knight and... I'm going to go Windswept and one Wasteland. Leo. Still pretty good. Probably happy just to attack with the Beast. I could also attack with the Collector Oof, that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think Bob is actually pretty good for them right now because of the food, but yeah, they could trade, but they're not going to. Alright. I'm just going to play Thalia and try to like overload their board. They can't gain life because of the Collector Oof, thankfully. Verdant. Okay. I assume they 3-3 the Uro. Misty. Play Leo first. Attack them, attack Oko, attack Oko, attack Oko. And now Leo allows us just to draw a bunch of cards, which is nice off the Karakas and the Maze. Verdant. Nice. Okay, 2 lands aren't the greatest, but we will take it. I do want to pressure it somewhat, but we could definitely go to face. I guess they're at 8, so maybe there is definitely a case for that. Kaya. Kaya's pretty sweet. I kind of hope they don't see the line of take Leovold, but they're just going to concede. Interesting. That's interesting. They could take Leo, and then, like, what do we draw? Okay, Decay is pretty good. Interesting. Loam. BUG, yes. I do like Force of Vigor. I do like Leyline. I do like Vraska. I do like Zealous. Even as a trade for Bob, I don't mind Zealous, but we do have the Engineers, so maybe it's overkill. Thalia is definitely coming out. Leyline's always an interesting one. That's like a maybe. You like Armageddon? Armageddon's really interesting as well. I think Collector Oof might just be a little bit too narrow. Everything else kind of has its place. I might just play a ley line. Armor's pretty funny. Let's try Armageddon. There we go. BUG, Force of Vigor Vraska. And this hand is okay. A little bit slow, but I'm okay with... I mean, this is quite bad against Wasteland. We do have the Ramanap, but we don't have anything else. So I'm going to mulligan this. I want like a Mana Dork start. This is close. The Sylvan Library is really what this hand relies on. I think it's a keep and just bottom 1 swords. I don't like mulling to 5 either, so I think it's keep and just bottom 1 swords. Mox is nice. Bob, okay. Gonna go for Savannah into swords. Yeah, it's always interesting, especially them on the play with Wasteland is just so good that relying on just making your land drops is a little bit tough. Oh, we have the bog for this. This is going to be fine. I could even wait on the bog. Maybe it's worth waiting on the bog if I can drop the Sylvan Library. I like waiting on the bog. If they don't drop Wasteland here, we can then just put in a Sylvan Library. I think making them have to deal with the Sylvan Library is pretty nice, especially when they only have 2 cards in hand. Tranquil Thicket, okay. I mean, a fetch land... yeah, they're still off Uro, which is nice. I don't think there's a way they can cast Uro this turn. This looks like Decay. Loam. Oh! I guess they get back the Tranquil Thicket, which they could... yeah, okay. So we don't get the... I guess if they tap out, we do. I don't think we did either. That's very true. Here, I'm probably happy just taking 8. I'm gonna cast the Skoos first and see what they do. See if they cycle in response. And at least then we get to BUG the cycle land. They don't. That's interesting. I think still Bog is fine. Even though they get Loam online, I think just taking out the Uro is good. Because they can fetch... yeah. Because they can Loam next turn to dredge and get the cards in the graveyard. So at least I can deal with the Uro, but not the Loam. Oh wow, they didn't cycle in response. Interesting. Keeping the cycle land in hand. That's really interesting. Maybe that means they have a second Loam in hand? I'm not sure why else you would want to keep the cycle land. Yeah, that was an interesting one. But at least next time we get to play Ramanap. 3 mana. Oof. 2 black and a green? Liliana? Yeah, it could be Tunnel Vision. I've definitely been there before. Plague Engineer, okay. Interesting. I wonder if they name Scoos or go after human. It shows Ooze. That's interesting because I think Death Touch is kind of the neg 1 for Ooze here. You could easily name something else and then make sure that we don't get to play it. I probably am just playing Ramanap this turn, so I think I'm happy with just putting on top. And to play around something like Him to Turak, I might as well keep the creatures on top, so put on top. Put on top. Land. Ramanap. Pass. Yeah, interesting play to name Ooze, because I think with Plague Engineer, you want to name things that it's going to have an impact on, like humans. So like Noble Hierarch Thalia. I can't cast them with Plague Engineer in play. But Ooze, like, I can't attack into the Plague Engineer anyway if it is just a Death Touch creature. I don't want to trade the Ooze for a 2/2 Death Toucher. But if it was on human, then maybe I want to build out my board a little bit. Swords, okay. Ah, this is interesting. I could trade the Ooze for the land. I don't think I want to do that yet. Especially if I untap and play Knight. I could also play the Leo. It's an interesting one. I think I like Leo. I could also set up a double Wasteland line with Knight though. Ah! I think it's just gonna be... it has to be a white, so it has to be Savannah. Okay. So Savannah, Knight, and the next time we can play Leo. I like that play. I can't get Tundra off the Verdant, unfortunately. And this Wasteland isn't doing too much for me, so I can at least take my opponent off some mana. But maybe I want to wait to see what they actually have, because I probably want to deal with something like a Mazavith if I'm trying to race them, then try to take them off mana when they already have a Mox Diamond out. It's not like I can take them off a single color. This is fine. We also get a fresh look, which is really nice with Sylvan Library because those 2 creatures on top were shuffled away. Bob's fine. Ooh, Armageddon. Plague Engineer is really nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 mana this turn. I think Plague turning off Bog is better than Leo this turn. So I think it's just put on top. Put on top. We will name human. And I'm probably happy just to pass back with knight up. There is a world where I double wasteland them, but I think this is okay. I am being a little bit patient on this wasteland, which might be a bad thing, but I'm not too sure what the role of this wasteland is. If it's going to be trying to take them off a color, if it's going to be dealing with the board and then using wasteland to deal with something like Zenith to actually start getting in damage. I think we're just getting a wasteland, but I guess we'll see what our opponent plays. Four mana. This looks like a Green Suns. Huh. Okay. If they get Uro, it doesn't matter because we have access to getting a green source off the knight for Scavenging Ooze. So I'm just gonna get a I could get fetch land into Trop to make the knight bigger. I think just getting a Trop is fine. Gonna play Leo. Probably happy to attack with the Plague Engineer. That's kind of an easy one. Yeah, I could get a fetch, but because I have Knight, I'm going to use that as a shuffle, so I kind of like the extra draw effect of the Nurturing Peat land. Because then I think one random card is probably a little bit better than those on top. The turn before with Knight. Ah, interesting, okay. Nothing. I think if I got a fetch anyway in their end step, I would have used it for the Scoos to get the Trop, nevertheless. So now I'm pretty happy just to sack Savannah. Probably get Bayou. Yep. Draw a card. Green Suns, okay. Alright, what do we got? Windswept. Oko's pretty good. Put on top. Put on top. Oko. They have 0 cards in hand. Nice. And then I think we just start making food and just hold the board through Scoo's, Knight, and Plague Engineer. We just have a really nice board to actually protect Oko, which is great. It's going to be really hard to get through the Knight. I'm more than happy to trade the Plague for Plague. Elking their Plague? Yeah, that's interesting. It makes the Scoos a 2/2. Yeah, I felt like that was a pretty hard spot for my opponent to come out of, especially with just the one land up. The one, no cards in hand, which is pretty tough. See what's in these. I think these boosters you get every time. Nothing great, but we did get a box. 5 play points. So this is pretty sweet. So we went down to Show and Tell, which I don't want to sideboard for because the matchup is pretty dominantly on their favor. And the other loss was to Depths, which I think is a fine matchup. I think we just got a little bit unfortunate, but you know, Matt obviously played pretty well. But I think there's nothing really to change for Depths. I think that we have enough answers in Wasteland and Swords and Knight and Decay to some extent. But yeah, the list felt pretty good. There are some times where I just don't really want Thalia in the deck, and I could play like a green heavy base with like Gaddock Teeg back in the main deck, and maybe putting Thalias in the board, but I don't really like Thalias in the board. I like having things like Deafening Silence or Chalice in the board. What happens if you put in Containment Priest into play with Sneak and Show? Sadly nothing, because their creature wasn't there for Containment Priest to see come in for free. If you're wanting to set that up, you have to cast the Containment Priest first, and then let the Show and Tell resolve, and hope they don't have Omniscience or Show and Tell. But they can then just put in nothing as well. Because I guess you can't put in anything as well unless you put in like a land or a Sylvan Library. You could also Violet. There we go. But yeah, this is so sweet. I mean, I'm still really liking the Uro and Leovold in the deck. They come up a lot. That's where you get your real value, and you keep up with some of these really grindy decks. Zealous was fantastic. Big fan of that. Armageddon, I do want something for the blue decks, and by blue decks I mean like the snow decks that have a lot of basics, but I'm not sure if the one Armageddon is really where I want to be. But it's an interesting card that I just haven't taken out yet. But yeah, that is me. A huge thank you to you guys who came in and followed. A huge thank you to you guys who resubbed. I'll be back on Wednesday night at around 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time. What's better in this deck? I think it's Oko. I think just because Oko buys you so much time that you then get to build out like a better board presence that your opponent can't really deal with once they've dealt with the Oko. It creates this sub game that opposite fair decks have to deal with before they deal with you. And yeah, the time it built up is just astronomical. It's really nice. Uro is interesting. Uro is a great draw, but I've never been in a position where I've wanted to green sun for it over something like Knight or a Silver Bullet that actually has a little bit of a better thing. Yeah, it's interesting. I think that I think in Maverick having Oko is really nice because it also gives you a different axis to attack decks on, because obviously this deck is pretty weak to things like Terminus and Supreme Verdict and Dead of Winter, but Oko doesn't really care about any of those, and it allows you to just keep gaining some amount of pressure, which is kind of nice. So it allows you to hit the board and then start just making foods and turning them into a 3/3 and making your opponent have some sort of sweeper, or deal with, you know, the creatures with decays that, you know, you're not actually trading a card for. So I feel like Oko gives you enough value that you don't usually have access to in Maverick that allows you to keep up with the other value decks, which is cool. I'm gonna quickly see who else is streaming because I'll send you guys over there. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can find me at Dukes on Twitch on Twitter. You can find all my videos and recordings on my YouTube channel found here. The Legacy Pit, always nice to have. I'm going to quickly send you guys over there. Enjoy your weekends. Thanks again for coming in. Always a pleasure. Let's raid the Legacy Pit. Hey, Una, thanks for the follow. Hope you have a nice weekend. Thank you again. We'll see you soon. They're currently playing Espervile against BUG, which is pretty sweet. So I will be. I'll see you there. Cheers.